Today's lesson is on change expressed as a percent. Our change, how values are changing, and we're going to write those as a percent. The key concept, percent of change. I've seen this written a lot of different ways, using absolute values or different ways. I do a real quick way of solving it. I'm always taking the bigger number minus the smaller number over the original. Like I said, there's been many ways that I've seen this. This is the way I like to talk about it. Bigger number minus the smaller number over the original. The book has different ways of showing it. I've seen on the internet, and different teachers teach this differently, and it's just a wording that teachers use differently. The concept is the same. You're always taking the bigger number minus the smaller number over the original. So that's percent of change. So let's look at this first one. We've got word problems here. A coat is on sale. The original price of the coat was $82. The sale price is $73.80. What is the discount expressed as a percent change? Well, change, and as I said here, change is when you're subtracting. We're going to take the bigger number minus the smaller number. And the reason I like to do it this way is so I don't have to deal with negative numbers. I'm always going to take bigger number minus smaller number. So the bigger number is 82. Minus the smaller number, which is 73.80. Over the original. It's always the one that happened first. Sometimes it's the first one listed in the problem, but sometimes they'll try to trick you with how they word the problem. So the original price, well, there's some keywords, original price was $82. So the bottom number here is going to be 82. What we're going to do to finish this problem is we're going to subtract the numerator. So 82 minus 73.80 gives you 8.2 over 82. And then we're going to divide. 8.2 divided by 82, that gives you 0.1. Now, 0.1 is not my percent, really. We want a percent of change, but with this, we have to change it from decimal form to percent form. So from changing it from decimal form to percent form, what we need to do is take that decimal and move it 2 places to the right. Fill in that 0, and now it becomes 10%. Now, like I said, some teachers do it a little different because some will end with a negative number and some will end with a positive number based on how they wrote it. But what I like to do is just let my kids solve it without those negative numbers. And then the other thing that they're trying to ask out of this question is going to be, was it a percent of increase or a percent of decrease? So was my number going up or was my number going down? Because it's a discount, the numbers are going down. So it's a 10% decrease. Now again, some teachers will solve it, and when they get a negative number here, and I think this is the way your book shows it, they'll get a negative number here to remind them that it's a decrease, but I always like to go bigger number minus smaller so you don't deal with those negative numbers. Our next one, very similar. A store buys an electronic guitar for $295. The store then marks up the price of the guitar to $340. What is a markup expressed as a percent change and round to the nearest percent? Okay, so bigger number is 340. A little bit better. 340 minus the smaller number, 295. Now, what was the original price? What price did the guitar start at? It started at the 295. So sometimes it's the smaller number, sometimes it's the bigger number. It's whatever the original number was. Subtract those two numbers and you get 45 over 295. And then divide and you get 0.15252. And you want to go out a couple places because, remember, you still have to move it and you have to do some rounding here based on what the question's asking for. So, rounding it. Well, let's move the decimal first. So that gives us 15.2. Now they told us to round it to the nearest percent. So 2, that means that's going to stay 15. So it's a 15%. Now again, did that go up or down? They marked up the price, so that's a 15% increase in the price. In 1 year, the total for passenger cars to use a tunnel rose from $3 to $4.75. What was the percent change? Bigger number minus smaller number over the original. What did it start at? It started at $3. Subtract your numbers, you get $1.75 over 3. Divide those numbers. And then don't forget to move that decimal 2 places. So it's about 58.3%. They didn't tell me to round it to the nearest percent, so it is kind of good to show that decimal. Again, was that an increase or a decrease? The price went up, so it's an increase. Because the price went up. The original amount is $11, and the new amount 6. What is percent change? So this isn't really a word problem. They just shortened it up, gave you the quick facts. So we have 11 and 6, so it's 11 minus 6 over, which one was the original? Well, it says it right here. Original is 11. Subtract them, you get 5 over 11, which gives you 0.4545454545. Move your decimal 2 places to the right. So it's about 45%. Increase or decrease? So the original amount was 11, and then it changed to 6. So going from 11 to 6, that's going down, so that's a decrease. Percent error. Percent error is similar to percent change, written a slight bit differently. We're working with absolute value signs here. This is absolute value. So that tells us we're always going to have a positive number there. Because when you subtract and take the absolute value of anything is positive. We're going to take our estimated value minus the actual value over the actual value. So you think the distance between your house and a friend's house is 5.5 miles. The actual distance is 4.75 miles. What is the percent error in your estimation? How much were you wrong? So 5.5, 4.75. We take our estimated, so you think that your estimated 5.5 minus the actual distance is 4.75. We're going to do absolute value of that over the actual distance, 4.75. Subtract those, you get 0.75 over 4.75. Now since that's already positive, I don't have to deal with that. Divide those numbers. Move it 2 places to the left, or to the right, and we get about 16% error. 16% error.